For today's video, we're calling in my boy YOJIMBO! Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-boo! Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. We're gonna have a good time today. We have a really sick deck list coming to us from Sinister, who has been kind of picking at this deck list for the last couple of weeks, trying to make it work. This is a Birthing Ritual deck. This card has popped off really hard on the channel a couple of times. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature, look at the top 7 cards of your library. Then you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from among those cards onto the battlefield, where X is 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value, and then the rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order. So what this deck wants to do is play an early Shardless Agent, cascade into this, and then start turning your small creatures that don't really do a ton into things like initiative creatures, or even an Academy Rector that when it dies, it can make your opponent very sad with Overwhelming Splendor. Or alternatively, pick up a YOJIMBO, which is perhaps not a legacy playable card under normal circumstances, but is surprisingly playable in this specific shell. Now, this is going to be a strangely constructed deck because we have a ton of mana here. We've got Spirit Guides and Witch Enchanter, which is something that we can hit off of Birthing Ritual, so we're a little bit over 50% mana here. But if you take a look, there's actually not that many real colored mana sources in the deck. This deck is trying to play kind of rainbow lands for its creatures to make sure you stick the thing that is important to stick. So we have Abundant Countryside and Cavern of Souls here. And there's some overlap between creature types, like human can get a handful of these creatures. We'll look back to Brutal Cathar in a second. And Warrior works for 2 of these as well. YOJIMBO is a Saga Samurai as far as types go. So when Sinister originally submitted this deck list, there were Trinispheres in the main deck, which was a reasonable thing to do, but makes the whole Shardless Agent thing very sketchy. So Brutal Cathar was subbed in as something that can temporarily remove a creature until you kind of get all of your stuff going. I'm a little concerned that there's not enough true green mana in the deck for Birthing Ritual, but Sinister has told me that as long as your expectation for Birthing Ritual isn't, I am going to consistently cast this on turn 2, that it's fine. If you take a look at this, there's an absurd number of creatures in this deck. Like, there are very few things that Abundant Countryside isn't going to cast. It's basically Birthing Ritual. We're never really expecting to cast this one. And if you take a look at how the sideboard is constructed, we are playing things that are dodging our Shardless Agents. So that means having true colored mana isn't as important as if we were trying to do things like Deafening Silence or whatever. Notably, we do have a couple of pivot options here in terms of things that we could hit instead of Birthing Ritual. So if we know our opponent has Emrakul's or Atraxas, we can start thinking about Inevitable Betrayal. If we know that they are a Storm deck, we can take out our Birthing Rituals and always hit a Gaddock Teague. My experience in playing with decks like this previously was that they were wildly powerful when they worked, but could be a little bit inconsistent. I am going to play this deck as it was submitted. If we find that the mana is problematic, maybe we'll drop a mid-league and make an adjustment here and turn it into more of a fetch dual mana base than it currently is. But if we're mostly looking to just cast Shardless Agent to get Birthing Ritual into play, hopefully this is fine. And folks, should you need some Magic cards, please consider supporting me and my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Use my promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on your order. When you do, you won't regret it. I just got a bunch of cards for them. I've got a, Tanuk Steadfast Captain, I think, EDH deck that I just put together that I am looking forward to trying. And, Slay Aspire, very good, eating up my free time. But after that, maybe a Commander Knight somewhere. That being said, let's battle. Okay. I have one of two colors towards Shardless Agent. I have 4 mana, 3 Shardless Agents. I cannot cast any of them. I am on the draw. A decent percentage of the time, I yeet a Shardless Agent on turn 2. The times where I don't do that, I probably hit a white creature, right? So these are bad draws. These are bad draws. These are bad draws. This stuff's all fine. Ancient Tomb is bad. City of Traders is bad. Plains is bad. This is like way more than half the deck. Yeah, okay. I think this looks sketchy, and I can still keep it. Put a Chalice on 1, coward. Oh yeah, that's totally fine. Common token is okay. Alright. Cavern on human? Or do I just want... It's awkward because if I play Ancient Tomb, I can play YOJIMBO next turn, and then this doesn't contribute to Shardless Agent. I'll play Ancient Tomb here, and I think play YOJIMBO and nuke this. This is like a 3-color mana base that is also trying to do Ancient Tomb stuff, so like, we're gonna run into some awkwardness. Abel gets to loot. Oh, we are Painter. This exiles artifacts as well? Okay. There has been a lot of Painter on Magic Online recently because Sewer Valence Cam from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set is causing people to re-explore that space. And I got a lot of things that I could exile with this YOJIMBO. Alright, there's Goblin Engineer. Chaos Defiler also just a problem. Alright, it is just full-on Painter in the graveyard. This can find Grindstone. Alright, this is a human warrior. I could go initiative creature instead. Yes. Hold on, is there a blue or green basic land in this pile? I think there is a green one. Yes, there is a green one. Okay, alright. So let's go human, white, other color, red. We can get blue from Cavernous Souls, green from Forest, and then hopefully do some crimes. I may be forced to try and cast a YOJIMBO somewhere in here, though. Like Painter and Grindstone are both telegraphed. Do I have to exile? Do I have to exile Urza Saga next turn? Depends on how lucky I am with the hits off of Shardless Agent. Unhappy. Unhappy. Maybe that means Seasoned Dungeoneer was just wrong this turn. I don't know. Seasoned Dungeoneer lets me play a card this turn, fix towards Shardless Agent, and get white for YOJIMBO. That's a lot of different things that it's doing. If my opponent attacks with both creatures, they can take the initiative. It doesn't feel like this game is about the initiative for them. I also don't know that they would want to give up Goblin Engineer. Oh, they are willing. I will absolutely kill Goblin Engineer to make this less of a concern. You may have your basic land. Now there's like some degree of question of like, what do I do with YOJIMBO? Do I remove Reflection of Kiki-Jiki or Urza Saga, as both are quite bad for me? Oh, it is another Goblin Engineer. That probably means that I need to respect the Urza Saga. Phyrexian Dragon Engine in there. This is so much Spirit Guide. So let's get in there. Opponent makes their friend, but it's not going to be able to block due to the protection here. Cavern of Souls. Let's do this initiative thing. I think it's pretty close between going left and right here. This Seasoned Dungeoneer is how I am ending the game, but Stash is pretty valuable given my sort of mana awkwardness. 1, 2. No, I don't get 2 land drops because I can go 1, 2, 3, 4 YOJIMBO, but I get either the white or the blue that I need. And I think I have to lean on YOJIMBO here. I'll use this to take out Urza Saga, which buys me some time. Note that this does not solve every problem, because Reflection of Kiki-Jiki on Goblin Engineer can also just put a Grindstone into the graveyard. I'm hoping that my opponent is bottlenecked on mana. I didn't do all of the permutations of like, okay, what if they have Lotus Petal? What if they have Ancient Tomb? Okay, there's Volcanic Island, which is indicative of the Sewer Valence cam that we were already thinking about. All right, Engineer for Phyrexian Dragon Engine. There's now a Legion Extruder in the graveyard. I bet that card has gone up in price a lot in the last week. This went from seeing very close to zero play to being a problem. Oh no. Oh no. All sorts of awful things are going to happen to me here. So Goblin Shaman token can attack, which, hot damn, this could have been so much worse. So Goblin Shaman token can attack there, giving my opponent a treasure, which gives them the mana to activate Reflection of Kiki Jiki, targeting Goblin Welder, which allows them to weld Phyrexian Dragon Engine into Chaos Defiler, but that didn't fucking happen now, did it? Hot damn. Let's trap our opponent. I'm very close to just getting over the line with Seasoned Dungeoneer here. It might literally come down to a coin flip on whether Seasoned Dungeoneer explores. All right, Yojimbo's ability goes off. I don't know that a chump block like here is a meaningful difference or not. Like, I suspect that my opponent eats me alive if they untap. Here we go. Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards. How does the exploring go? Hot damn! I will put Brutal Cathar into my graveyard. We win. Exactsies. What did Sinister call this? Raffle Stomp? Raffle Stomp, indeed. Haters in shambles as this deck limps over the finish line. Alright, we can Fairy Macabre. Clarion Conqueror is good. So, do I want to be a Birthing Ritual deck for this matchup, or do I just always want to go into Collector Oof? Here's the issue with Collector Oof. Collector Oof doesn't stop the Sewer Valence cam combo, right? Because that's Goblin Welder, an artifact that doesn't need to be activated, although it technically has an activated ability. Opponent also has Agatha Soul Cauldron combo, though. Birthing Ritual is so sick in terms of value. But I think this is Operation Hateful Oof. Get Clarion Conqueror in here. Is this good? It's certainly not bad. And then this one is interesting in that it can maybe shut off Urza's Saga, or maybe turn it into a death machine that is there forever. One of the issues with boarding out the Birthing Rituals is that Academy Rector gets way, way worse. So, what do I want to do about that? Do I want to play fairies? I can play 3 fairies to fill the slot, and it's fine. This feels weird. Let's try doing defensive stuff like this when I am on the draw. This mana, though. Well, we can make 5 mana on turn 1. I could keep this by the same logic as last time, where almost every draw in our entire deck is good. But I think I'll mulligan this time. This is turn 1 Collector Oof. Yeah. In? Turn 2 Anointed Peacekeeper. Rainbow Land pulls its weight. Ooh, opponent going to 5 cards. Also, opponent saw a very, very small portion of our bullshit in game 1, so it is possible that they boarded for a very different looking deck than what is actually going on here. Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal. Don't Blood Moon me, don't Blood Moon me. Fable. Yes. That's going to be worse than normal because the treasure tokens are not going to be effective. Yeah. Green, blue, and 1. We will Cascade. I really would rather have Birthing Ritual in this spot than the Collector Oof, I think. I think immediately flooping Shardless Agent into another value permanent would be very strong here. But it's totally different if my opponent leads on a bunch of, like, Mox Opal, Agatha Soul Cauldron stuff. And we also can't see what else is going on in hand, but, like, after my opponent mulligans deeply, it's, hopefully just going to be fine to shut off their artifacts. I think this is the pause of someone going, like, you just played a blue-green card out of what I thought was a mono-white deck. What drugs are you on, Phil? Where do I find them? The drug is Slay the Spire. Side effects, lack of sleep. Sewer Valence Cam to Yard. I will probably just snap block with a Shardless Agent if I'm given the opportunity to trade here. An opponent does not want to do that. Yes, let's see what's going on over there. With Anointed Peacekeeper. Oh shit, it is a Blood Moon. Let's say no to Blood Moon. That is a card that was very, very specifically called out as being insane versus this deck. And I think I'm the beatdown. Like, I've seen the hand, my opponent can't cast spells right now. Like, if you trade with Collector Oof, I'm still clocking for 5. And I will straight up hard cast a Simian Spirit Guide and continue to clock that way. And be perfectly happy with it. Alright, opponent does not have more mana. Punchies. In we go. Opponent's just gonna take all of that. And Elvish Spirit Guide is here to rumble. I'm going to play out this city to save myself the Ancient Tomb life, and also the mana is wild enough in this deck that I don't necessarily know what I need at any given time. Would you like to Blood Moon and take me off of all my colors, but set yourself back a mana? Oh wait, I have Anointed Peacekeeper on Blood Moon. So that's a nope. And this has the potential to be a sweet card in this shell, but I don't know that my opponent's gonna have time. Ooh, there's Welder's Sewer Valence Cam. That's scary. Oh, I missed on my draw. Uh-oh. I might straight up lose after all of that. Opponent to 4. My opponent currently does not have an artifact in play, but they can cast one. So there's the Mock Sight that my opponent can weld in and out. I suspect this is the end. So, oh, there's another Sewer Valence Cam. That's right, I forgot there was another one in hand. Targeting Jiki. So you can make another welder as backup, I guess. Okay. Oh, didn't use it though. All right. There's Mox Opal. This can untap the welder. So now we're gonna start seeing Sewer Valence Cam loops. So the Moxite goes away. Allows my opponent to discard a card and draw 2 cards. I believe that this means that I am deterministically dead if my opponent doesn't mess up, because they can just loop through their deck with melded Moxite and Sewer Valence Cam. I'm going to give you Spark Notes from here. All right, there is now a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. I believe that my opponent just misclicked and broke their loop. They accidentally tapped down a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Luckily, they had Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, which can allow them to like save themselves. I don't know if my opponent is proficient enough in their deck to execute their combo before they time out. They are down north of 10 minutes of clock on me. Alright, there is a Painter's Servant in play, which should kill me with Grindstone shortly. So I'll do this until my opponent executes the combo, and then I'll concede with it on the stack. So there's the Grindstone targeting me. That will mill me out. I'll concede there. That was game 2. My opponent logistically does not have time to do that again. I can't imagine how much more clock they would have lost if I didn't just auto-yield their turn. Alright, so how do we feel on this like Collector Oof Birthing Ritual situation? I think I'll still do the Collector Oof stuff, but it definitely feels like it could swing either way. This is turn 2 Shardless Agent, unless I get Blood Moon on turn 1. Seems like a keep. Land drop and pass. Ancient Tomb into Painter. Yes. So this also can answer Painter, so I think I am good to just do my Shardless Agent thing. Basic Forest? I think I will Basic Forest. Cavern on Human. Yeah. I do really wish that this was just Birthing Ritual. All pass turn. I'm going to try not to pitch cast Solitude, but the option is available to me if I need it. There's a Fable. Oh, nice. Rogue is one of these, right? Yes, Rogue is one of these. Oh, but I don't actually have 4th mana right now. Elemental? Or we can do Incarnation. Be more confusing. There's Shardless Agent. Pulling the second Collector Oof out of deck. And I think I will chill there, just kind of knowing that Seasoned Dungeoneer is very likely to close out this game for me. And I don't remember exactly, but I'm something like 32 mana sources, so I will usually hit next turn. Skateboard and Fable go bye-bye. Welder is a scary card. Goblin Engineer, also a scary card, because that one can get the Chaos Defiler. So I imagine that I'm going to need to remove a Goblin Welder here with Brutal Cathar. Yep. Painter and Grindstone in play, but I have double Collector Oof. Lotus Petal also does not have text. This is fine. I end this game very quickly if I play Seasoned Dungeoneer this turn and pitch Brutal Cathar. I don't know if that is going to open me up to losing to some weird Fable nonsense. I think I'm going to try to end this game. I guess I'm going to confirm that the Welder dies. Then do Seasoned Dungeoneer. Get a Plains. I've already made a land drop. I will attack with my Rogue that gets a Seasoned Dungeoneer ability. Spirit Guide can go to my graveyard. Opponent to 11. The Fable doesn't have haste here. I guess it could get it off of Skateboard. Another Goblin Engineer. I think I'm okay with 2 oofs. Legion Extruder is a removal spell for one thing here. So there's the Extruder junking a Collector Oof. So now I will go to Forge. Forge up a Seasoned Dungeoneer. Miss on my draw. Well, I'm worried about 2 of these things looping next turn and dying to Painter combo. Ooh, that's not great. I can make Seasoned Dungeoneer 5 to 6 unblockable, at which point 2 of these things need to be blocked. That gets rid of a Goblin Engineer. That doesn't fully answer my problems. Maybe I needed to go to Lost Welder. I think I should have slowed down a bit. Yes, that can go into my graveyard. Yeah, I think I'm dead. I believe that my opponent has enough mana to do what they need to do. Okay. So that's Extruder out. That's Extruder in. That kills Oof. That leaves the Lotus Petal online. Although the Goblin Shaman attack could have done the same thing there. And that is the Painter activation. Alright. For giggles, does Lost Well get me there? I don't get to know because Magic Online is lagging. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. My opening hand can play a Yojimbo on turn 2. I don't know that that's exciting. I don't know that jamming a Rector is exciting without a way to sacrifice it. I'm going to try to do better than this hand. Okay. Turn 1 land. Turn 2 land, Clarion Conqueror. Turn 3 Birthing Ritual. It's a little weird. It's fine. I guess I can also jam Clarion Conqueror on turn 1 if I think that's a good idea. Basic Plains, Guide of Souls. Sure. Solitude is reasonable. Part of me is wondering if I should just, like, Solitude a creature that my opponent plays to buy time. I think I'm going to do this. And Birthing Ritual immediately. Play Clarion Conqueror next turn and try to immediately extract value off of it. And that is the exact fear of playing out the white land on turn 1. I'll take the hit from Guide of Souls here. 16. I think I have to make this land drop, and it's just very awkward. There's a Plateau, a Voice of Victory. This combo is probably scary enough that I have to break it up. I will pitch my Seasoned Dungeoneer here. Not overly keen on putting an initiative trigger into play when my opponent has something that is 3 bodies in a can. Strunk. We'll hold that. There's Caracas. Delny. Ooh, this is going to be gross. So this is double Voice of Victory triggers. This will kill me quickly if I miss on mana. Cavern on Dragon. Gaming. We get Clarion Conqueror into play, and then I get to do the Birthing Ritual thing. Okay. I will sacrifice the dragon. The Academy Rector is the greatest long-term value here by a lot. I might just need to take YOJIMBO, though, and exile this Voice of Victory so I don't get clocked for a gajillion. None of these creatures are big enough to kill Academy Rector in the next turn cycle. Let's assume that Birthing Ritual will do cool things. And the YOJIMBO middle trigger as the Ghostly Prison propaganda effect to slow down my opponent for whatever they play this turn also sounds kind of cool. Hexing Squelcher. Those triggers will also double from Delny. Swords is rough. So now I have almost no creatures I think I could draw that I could actually cast on my next turn. It has to be another Clarion Conqueror. I'm a god. That's very funny. Alright, I will say yes. I will pick up the Rector. Now, these creatures kill Academy Rector, and then give me the really, really big, scary enchantment. We'll see whether or not my opponent is willing to attack. It's insane. It is absolutely insane if I win this game after stumbling this hard. Double Ajani triggers. Seems good. Alright, opponent is going in. I will block. I'll die. I will pick up my super fun enchantment. Do I beat 5 power in play? Or do I need to YOJIMBO? Maybe need to YOJIMBO. I'm unhappy about this, because ward triggers. Yeah. Fuck, Legend. Legend! That one's on me. Alright. I get my Pseudo Fog. I don't think I get to attack with YOJIMBO despite having Vigilance. Then we see what happens with the Birthing Ritual trigger. Those are not better. So if I do Overwhelming Splendor instead, I eat 5 damage this turn and have an empty board, and then draw through a bunch of misses. I don't remember where exactly that pile started. Oh no. That easily beats me from here. So that's 5, Ajani 0, and then Goblin Bombardment is just lethal. We can tap out here. Opponent's got it. GG. I don't imagine that I have much of an ability to sideboard for this matchup. Like, I have 2 more bodies that I could consider over other bodies that are in the deck. I think I'm good here. Alright. If I keep this hand, I am just playing Human Beatdown for the beginning of the game. I don't do anything on turn 1. Turn 2, I play Anointed Peacekeeper or Brutal Cathar, and the following turn. That feels very fair. It seems to me like conceptually I want to get this going and accelerate into these 4 drops as quickly as possible. I don't know that this is a mulligan. Despite that, I'm just worried that my opponent has enough interaction, or rather enough threats that I need to interact with, that this is just not enough. Alright, yeah, I am into stuff that looks like that. I think I will start on something that stabilizes the ground versus Ocelot Pride. Name Swords. Seems correct. That's what buys me the most immediate time here. And makes it so that Ocelot Pride doesn't start making stuff. But like Voice of Victory, Ajani, Amped Raptor are all super reasonable plays. There's Wasteland. I don't imagine that my opponent can fire that off. They're going for the Amped Raptor value, and they hit Voice of Victory. Seems good. I might need to do Undermountain Adventurer this turn to just set up casting more spells after getting potentially wastelanded. Again, I'm not super excited about introducing the initiative into Voice of Victory here. And Brutal Cathar is not necessarily permanent removal either. Oh my god, this is a giant warrior, not a human warrior. That's on me. That means we're doing this. If I take out one of these 2, I can attack with Anointed Peacekeeper. I don't think that's what this game is about. I'm just going to go with Voice of Victory. Make it look like I'm representing a swords on their turn or something. This was a really bad mistake, though. Note, both of these creatures have first strike, which is why I'm not attacking. I don't remember if I said that yet. It is more Amped Raptor value. Hitting Deafening Silence. That's fine. Shardless Agent is a creature, so that's not actually going to mess with my stuff all that much. I do another Anointed Peacekeeper. I think I'll just get the initiative stuff going now. Get Savannah, drop Undermountain Adventurer. Use that to pull a forest out of my deck. I've made my land drop. I'll call it a turn there. There's more mana from my opponent. A Voice of Victory. And we're chilling. So Forge lets me reasonably attack with a 5/6 Vigilant creature. Lost Well lets me potentially find something better to do with my turn than just Anointed Peacekeeper. I think I'm trying to high roll here. Let's forge this up. High roll not successful. In we go. Opponent takes some damage. I will drop this. Oh god, Goblin Bombardment. Goblin Bombardment, Voice of Victory, First Strike stuff is really annoying. Let's name Goblin Bombardment. Then we'll do the Rainbow Land and straight up cast a Spirit Guide to try and help hold down the fort here. Opponent's got a lot of creatures and more with Voice of Victory. They may be willing to take some losses on the attack to try and get in here. Saying no to Caracas. Okay, opponent is not making a go at it. There's timelines where I end up activating this thingy. I will certainly trap you. Bring you to 9. This thing transforms. Anointed Peacekeeper. That's sort of fascinating. Please make your decisions right now about what you're doing with that. Because if you don't name this now, I name Swords to Plowshares and I stack this up again. Okay, that's good enough for my opponent to concede there. We still have to win another game, though. And again, I have very little agency in terms of sideboarding here. This is very weird. Because none of these lands cast Birthing Ritual, I can't cast this one easily if I use Spirit Guide. That said, I get to just Shardless Agent on turn 2. I think this is fine. I am a little worried that my opponent can just come out of the gates with like Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride before I get stuff going on my end. YOJIMBO. Alright, I'll pass the turn here. The Abundant Countryside is a better land than Cavern of Souls, but playing this one out leaves me with flexibility to cast YOJIMBO next turn if I feel like that's a better thing to do than Shardless Agent. Which, to be fair, I might if my opponent assembles a gross combo here. There's Amped Raptor, bonus energy, and Hexing Squelcher. Yeah, you've got it. Guide of Souls smacks me around a little bit. I am at 19. Do I want to play YOJIMBO and exile Guide of Souls here? I think I do. Just doing anything to help stabilize the ground here feels like it matters. I'll take 2 from the Hexing Squelcher ward to make this happen. But assuming this sticks around, even if YOJIMBO ends up leaving play from Birthing Ritual, I still will get my turn worth of fog. Basic Plains comes down. Voice of Victory. Ocelot Pride. Alright, glad we disrupted Guide of Souls plus Ocelot Pride at the same time. YOJIMBO does its thing. This is now bananas, right? So I just go human on here. Would my opponent trade away 3 bodies for YOJIMBO? I don't think so. Let's send in. Yeah. So now, blue, green, 1, Shardless Agent, which always cascades into Birthing Ritual. Yeah. And the lucky Spirit Guide that I drew actually lets me cast this Birthing Ritual. Now I get 2 of these triggers at end of turn. I can turn another YOJIMBO. Is this legendary? How is this not legendary? Feels very strange. I think I'm just going to reset the counters on this YOJIMBO and leave myself with 2 things that I'm comfortable sacking. Yeah, this is fine. Then sacrifice Shardless Agent or Academy Rector. And again, my opponent's got that YOJIMBO tax going from the saga, even though my other YOJIMBO left play. Goblin Bombardment is great. Opponent doesn't get to attack, though. Alright, so I get another turn worth of fog. I think I don't attack this turn because I know that I can sacrifice Academy Rector and just shut off all of these abilities. So let's not even give my opponent the option to trade. And then we do the double birthing ritual thing at end of turn. So yeah, sacrifice Rector. I'll pick up a Witch Enchanter here. Destroy Goblin Bombardment. Get Overwhelming Splendor. Attach that to my opponent. That just says no to activated abilities fully. And we take that one down. All right. Batting 50-50 here. Mana base, absolutely sketch. GG's. All right. Opening hand has lands and spells, and I don't think I plan to actually win the game. I will mulligan this one. Well, I'm going to keep this one. Brian says, battle! Battle! I put more ease on mine. I'm already winning. I'll put Academy Rector back here. Cavern on Human. Last turn. Don't wasteland me. Flooded Strand. Ah, good thing our Shardless Agent is uncounterable. That's not the thing that matters for counter purposes. I think I'm into taking a turn for Anointed Peacekeeper here and using that as a check for counter magic to make sure that Birthing Ritual is actually going to resolve. Because I think that's what this game is going to come down to. Holy fuck, Brian. Bruh. Alright. So Force of Will and Force of Negation both do the thing here. There's 2 Stifles. I can do Stifle so that I actually get my initiative trigger. What a hand. Nice. Brian in chat, just nice Cavern of Souls, angry face. Yep. I do need to, like, find some green mana here. Like, these counter spells still do stuff. I'm not all humans here. So, yeah. 16. I think I'm just going to start getting these out of hand. So there's Shardless Agent. And this is just cascading into Hymn to Turok. Force of Negation, pitching a Stifle is fine. I think I should have named Force of Will with this to just shove Undermountain Adventurer through, thinking about my hand a little bit more, and just given up on the initiative trigger and like let Brian not introduce that to the game. Tamiyo will do Tamiyo things. Again, my mana base is kinda rough here. I'm assuming that this means that there is a Swords to Plowshares that is going to eat my Anointed Peacekeeper. Tamiyo pluses. There's Wasteland. Oof. That is brutal. Punchies. Everybody at Tamiyo. Do you have the swords, or are you fishing for the swords with the Brainstorm? You have the swords. Rough. All right. Now the next thing here is probably going to be ugly. 1, 2, 3. Spirit Guide. 4. Oh no, a daze. Spirit Guide. Is Force Blue card the remainder here? Fuck, Force Blue card is the remainder here. Brian still find use for those Stifles pitching to the blue cards. And now I suspect that Tamiyo just takes over this one. I have some very silly things that I can do. I think I lost this one in naming wrong with Anointed Peacekeeper. My gut reaction was Force of Will plus Force of Negation means that I can't resolve Birthing Ritual, but resolving the initiative creature might have been way, way more important there. In at Tamiyo. And it's Felia. Rough. Alright, I'm going to bow out there. I think Brian's got this one at this point. And I'll respect both of our times. GG. I think I punted that one. And maybe go up on these over other threats that are in the deck. Like maybe pull the Solitude so that I don't have to worry about a jump from 3 to 5 with Birthing Ritual. YOJIMBO isn't amazing here. Brutal Cathar also not amazing. I'm going down a couple answers to Tamiyo, but I am replacing with a thing that is good against Tamiyo and a generically good Archon. This mana. This mana. Like, I can't cast both of these with the mana that is available this hand. Alright, I mean, I've mulliganed a couple of times. We're kind of stuck here now. Give up on the basic, I think. Put one of these back. Lead on an Ancient Tomb and pass. Alright. We're taking our time this game. Brutal Cathar is not something that I really want to draw here. Upkeep fetch. Stifle's a thing here. I'm going to get a basic plains. Blooded Strand. I'm going to floop those down the turn that they are relevant. Blooded Strand fetches, presumably a Surveil. Yep. Tundra. Pass. These are both humans. I guess I'll put one of these on Archon very awkwardly. Or my Singleton Archon of Emeria. There is a Felia. I can remove that with Brutal Cathar, but my opponent could get some nonsense in play before that happens. Not this time though, luckily. Not really ready for a Quantum Riddler or whatever to hit play. Notably, Academy Rector is not great in this matchup either, as Brian has exile-based removal for Academy Rector. Alright, yep, I agree with that decision. This land is pretty dead now. This is just a land that produces a single colorless. Consigning the trigger. Rude. Well, here's another trigger. Human. Trigger. Swords, get your dog back. No, at least not immediately. Brainstorm. And then there's the fetch land to clear. I can take 2 to not be stifleable. This card's not even very good anyway. You can stifle me if you want. 16. Green matters. And I think I'm just fully not attacking into a potential Felia. This Felia trades with Brutal Cathar, and then my opponent gets a Felia back. And I don't like that. There's the fetch. There's the Felia that I just played around. So my position's bad. I've just kind of got nothing going on. I need to resolve a Birthing Ritual. The Felia can blink out the Rector, and then this trade is not profitable for me. I will take the 2. I'm going to get Wastelanded off the Cavern on human. Yep. And then my Rector comes back. Alright, well, we got the green for that previously. Let's see if this sticks. 4 cards in hand makes me think this is unlikely. Yep. In with Brutal Cathar this time, now that there's already a Felia in play. 15. Misty Rainforest comes down. Felia can keep attacking, blinking out the Rector. I'm down to 10. And Felia returns my Rector. This transforms into the 3/3 version. Just gonna attack with this. I think I should play Spirit Guide pre-combat. The Noble Spirit Guide. We're just trying to stem the bleeding from the dog over here. Hopefully Brian's hand has some like kind of bad cards like Stifle as of right now. Basic Plains comes down. That makes me think there's going to be another Force of Will here. That's 5 mana exactly. Alright, Felia is chilling. I'll take your Force of Will, please. Yep. In for 3. It's possible I should also attack with the Spirit Guide there and just try to go full offensive tilt. Let's see if this resolves. Yeah. Alright, it does. I think it's now punchy time. Like, we're both at 8, but I am getting the first attack here. And I have more power in play. So I don't know Brian's hand. He might need to play towards something like block here, trade, draw, swords, this, lose 3, get Felia back that can block these in the future. The ward 3 life is rough here. Oh, eating all of it? Eating all of it, going to 2. I wonder if there was a sweeper that he can hit. Alright, swords on one of these. And death. GG. Brutal Cathar was pretty important there. Maybe I should not have boarded the other out. I think I'm okay with leaving the Solitude in the board. I think I'm going to pull this and just go back to the game 1 configuration. I also don't think it's crazy to just jam Trinisphere here. These are things that are good against Tamiyo. I could maybe trim one. I could also just like go down a Yojimbo. I don't know how much I will miss it. Alright. Here we go. 3 lands, 2 Birthing Rituals, 0 ability to cast them. I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to assume that my deck spits up things that are castable off of my mana sources. I'm expecting a longer game. Yeah, stuff like that. Land drop, pass the turn. Alright, we are chilling. Nice. Do I want an Anointed Peacekeeper here? Sure. Cost me my Spirit Guide. Yeah. Well, those are a set of cards, certainly. I will name Swords to Plowshares, I suppose. Good set of Magic the Gathering cards over there, though. Wasteland is great. This can just temporarily allow Brian to do other things. So there's Riddler, and then we'll see how Brian wants to use the Consign here. Like, you can use Consign and keep the Riddler, or use Consign and junk my creature forever. Alright, Consign and keep the Riddler. I will rename Swords to Plowshares. Imagine how much different this game is if I can cast my Birthing Rituals. Name Human, and unfortunately pass turn. The Wasteland is really going to set me back here. Alright, just going for the 3-mana Swords. Junking the, what is this? Abundant Countryside. Since I have double Cavern of Souls anyway, I'm forcing the humans through. I'd like an Ancient Tomb as my top card. Nope, it's Overwhelming Splendor. My deck shits its pants because it can't cast its spells. And a Teferi on top of that. Absolutely. I think if my next draw is not Ancient Tomb, I am not in contention here. Actually, City of Traders might be better. That's not going to do it. All right. I end the game with 7 cards in hand, having the ability to cast 0 of them. A GG. All right. Opening hand has a Birthing Ritual and the ability to cast some creatures. Let's see if we die before anything matters. This deck is going to be way faster than my deck. Oh my gosh, what a boon. That could have been so much worse. I will just be making a land drop here and passing the turn, though. Next turn, I will probably be playing a Brutal Cathar to stop some creature that gets into play, an Emery or whatever. Opponent needs this bauble for some mana reason, maybe for a Mox Opal, maybe for a Kappa Cannoneer, maybe for actual factual affinity. 19, Ancient Tomb, and Memory Guardian. Yeah, I'll absolutely take that out with Brutal Cathar. I just need to buy a little time here to get Birthing Ritual into play. Man, this is absolutely worth the Spirit Guide. All right, cool. If this is all that happens this turn, this is great. All right, there is something else. It is another Memory Guardian. Sure. So this card is really important. I think I'm willing to take a little damage to just do an Anointed Peacekeeper this turn and see what is going on in my opponent's hand. Because while these humans are uncounterable, my Birthing Ritual isn't. Force of Will. Resolves. The exact card that I was worried about, my opponent used on an uncounterable spell. I will name Memory Guardian. Hold on, does that do anything? This is 2 more. Opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4. This is like 7. Do I just name the Bauble, actually? Yeah, I think I named the Bauble to shut off its activated abilities. Like, not let my opponent cycle this. Very strange. And then I will assume that resolving Birthing Ritual wins me the game. If my opponent plays their Memory Guardian here, which air quotes they should, then that means there's no blue card in hand to be a pitch to Force of Will. I will take the damage in the air. 14. All right, cool. Very nice. I think this is fine. Do Peacekeeper. You can Pithing Needle. That's not live. We'll just keep this Urza's Bauble from cycling. Play Birthing Ritual and assume that this now goes ham. All right, this is fine. I will sacrifice one of these to get YOJIMBO, who will exile a Memory Guardian. I will take 4 in combat, going to 8. Oh, all right. This YOJIMBO Fog effect is reasonable. Can I play Seasoned Dungeoneer, realistically? It lets me attack with this as well. I think I can. Put this on Warrior. Do Seasoned Dungeoneer to pull a land out of my deck. Grab a Plains. Go to Punchies. This is a Cleric for Seasoned Dungeoneer's ability. Academy Rector. No, I will not put that in my graveyard. All right, that is good enough for the win. And remember, we had that middle YOJIMBO ability as a pseudo fog here. GG. We got helped a little bit by our opponent there. I'm very happy to win game 1 here, as I expect that my opponent can regularly run me over. All right. The Collector Oof situation. What are we doing about that? That card is sweet. but Birthing Ritual is also my way that I fish for like YOJIMBO in Academy Rector and Solitude. I'm into these. These are sus. I think I'm going to turn 2 initiative creatures into these 2 cards. I'm not the most excited about introducing the initiative into the game. I am not going to cut Birthing Ritual. I am considering playing Collector Oof and Birthing Ritual at the same time and just kind of spinning the wheels. Whatever I get, I get. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I have to cut a little bit of top end to make this happen. Hopefully like the combination of Oof, Oof, Dragon, and Overwhelming Splendor shuts off enough of my opponent's stuff that I'm just fine. This is turn 1 YOLO. I'm in. I don't know which one I would prefer to hit off of Shardless Agent here. Like, I legitimately don't know which one is going to be better. I suspect that both are good, and I will not be unhappy with either one. An Aether Spellbomb as well. Kappa Cannoneer, last card. Nope, another Mox Opal, though. So, a Collector Oof shuts down a lot of stuff here. Land drop. Shardless Agent. Oh no, I don't get to Shardless Agent YOLO. Because I clicked on the wrong land. That is frustrating. That's on me for assuming that my lands can cast spells. Alright. Say Livy. I time walk myself. Not playing Seasoned Dungeoneer into 4 flying creatures and Spellbomb. Hopefully this mistake is not that costly. 16. Another land. Cool. And then this comes down. Sure. So land drop. I have 5 mana. So I'm not doing 2 spells here. Green, blue, 1 other one. Shardless Agent. It's Birthing Ritual. My opponent should absolutely Spellbomb bounce this Shardless Agent. Keep me from getting the initial trigger and just deal a bunch of damage. Alright, 9. And that's just another droid. I'm going to go ahead and fetch. I need more mana if I'm going to continue playing this game. Get a Tundra. Cast a Shardless Agent again. I think I actually want to hit Oof this time. Nope, I hit Birthing Ritual. I get 2 of these triggers. Nice. Sack this. Get a Rector. Do this again. Okay. Sack this. I think I do Clarion Conqueror since it flies and is bigger. Opponent says Brutal. Yep. Alright. Is it Overwhelming Splendor? That takes the flying off of these. YOJIMBO just gets rid of Pinnacle Emissary, but then leaves the flying. I think I do YOJIMBO. Take out the Pinnacle Emissary so that more aren't made. Then just kind of hope that I find a way to deal with these. The all-out attack doesn't kill me super quickly because of YOJIMBO. Alright, so YOJIMBO, first ability there. My opponent cannot attack me because I do not have functioning mana sources. Alright, paying attention to colors. Blue, bullshit color that doesn't matter. Green, Shardless Agent. Get another Birthing Ritual. Then, Anointed Peacekeeper. Well, I guess leave that stranded in hand. Opponent doesn't get to attack me this turn, so I can go and punch them in the face, and then I get to resolve 3 different Birthing Ritual triggers. Yes. Sack Shardless Agent, turn it into another Clarion Conqueror. Actually, I'll turn it into a Brutal Cathar, permanently kill a token. Yeah. And then we will loop Brutal Cathar into another Brutal Cathar and kill another token. And then I think I just like having another Clarion Conqueror rather than a Seasoned Dungeoneer. Well, I nearly punted that one by playing the wrong land on turn 1, but we recovered in incredible fashion with triple Birthing Ritual. Are we batting 50-50 now? Alright, we are batting 50-50 now. Let's see if we can pull a positive record in this league, which I honestly would be very happy about given our rocky start. Alright, opening hand is not doing anything quickly. It has stable mana. I'm going to just keep it for that reason alone. Alright. This matchup is not great for us, especially with this specific hand. That helps a lot. That lets me get Birthing Ritual going on turn 2. I can theoretically just die this turn, though, to Goblin Engineer. There's a skateboard. Yeah. You got the Engineer? So, no. The answer is they do not have the Engineer. Do I want to just play Brutal Cathar? I think I do. I'm so scared of this fucking card. And I am not gonna play City of Traders this turn. I want to keep consistently making land drops here. I'm a little worried that my opponent just has a Lightning Bolt or whatever to remove my Brutal Cathar, because they didn't just go to equip their Goblin Welder with the skateboard, but it looks like that was just an error. Alright, another Urza's Saga. I guess they could also be holding open a Pyroblast. The attack here is not good. Go and play this on human. Make this uncounterable for Pyroblast purposes. There is the Birthing Ritual, and the game begins. Birthing Ritual trigger. You got Pyroblast. This is your moment to kill Shardless Agent. Didn't happen. And honestly, kind of a miss. Would I want to draw another Shardless Agent later? Sure. But I wouldn't want to draw a Spirit Guide. Let's take a Spirit Guide out of the deck. Urza's Saga tokens are gonna be big. And my opponent has onboard haste already. Oh, shit. Brutal Cathar just transformed back and nuked an Urza's Saga construct token. Because I did cast 2 spells with my Shardless Agent. It is Mox Opal and a Fable. This token can get haste off of Skateboard if my opponent wants. They are not equipping their Skateboard when they have opportunities to. I don't know that I want to trade bodies when I have Birthing Ritual around. And I'm about to just jam a initiative creature. I think I have one more basic plains in here. Then I'll just proceed to end of turn here. Clarion Conqueror is kind of disgusting on this board. Academy Rector is one of the things that I want the most in the long term, but I think Clarion Conqueror is too good in the short term to not take here. That shuts off 3 of my opponent's 4 mana sources, and shuts off the treasures as well. My opponent has a chance to, like, loot and whatnot. Sewer Valence Cam to Yard. Very scary. There is an Ancient Tomb, so some colorless mana available, but I've shut off all of the red mana, and the blue mana, I suppose, as well. And that's good enough for the win. GG. This is a matchup I am very, very afraid of, though. I don't think every match is going to be as easy as that one. I want this Clarion Conqueror in. There is kind of this, like, Collector Oof thing that I thought about before, where, like, I can decide whether or not I always want to go into Collector Oof, or whether I want Birthing Ritual, or a mixture of the two. There are going to be boards like that last one, where hitting Collector Oof is just devastating. Shardless Agent into Birthing Ritual is also just 7 looks at Clarion Conqueror, though. And then I guess there's also, like, the Fairy Macabre situation to think about. I think I just need these. I think it's too easy for my opponent to grind through my stuff without them. I'm going to go down these, and I think Solitude is one of my less consistent removal spells. Let's play this out this way. Okay. That's all that I think this hand is okay. But my opponent can just go turn 1 Welder, turn 2 Engineer, and I can just be, you know, threatened to die immediately. I think I've just got to keep hands with the Fairy. Just playing out the Skateboard preemptively. Brutal Cathar is a fine pickup. I'm fine putting one of these on human. Hitting a Spirit Guide next draw to get ahead of schedule with Shardless Agent would be pretty cool. Alright. I have an answer to that. Another Fairy is not what I'm looking for. This certainly slows me down, though. Melded Moxite is fine. Having to worry about Blood Moon as a 3-mana I win button, in addition to Painter Grindstone combo and Sewer Valence combo, is rough. I actually want my opponent to play a creature so I can play Brutal Cathar on curve. They did not. Thank you, Fairy Macabre. You are a sideboard card, and I respect the fact that you are here kind of doing your job and showing up for the appropriate matchup. Fable is great. My opponent has missed Skateboard Haste a couple of times. All right, there we go. They got it this time. My opponent gets a treasure. I will take 3. 17. Now, I get to nuke Blood Moon, unlock my lands, and then next turn I do Shardless Agent crimes. I can just die to like Painter Grindstone combo this turn though. That's the problem with respecting the Sewer Valence combo. And there it is. I'm not sure whether or not I should trade here. I think I will. I have one of the combos covered pretty well. Alright, opponent is just passing the turn. Alrighty. Yeah? Just confirming I don't have the other warrior in deck. Putting this on human is fine for everything except Clarion Conqueror, which I already cover. I can't cast a drawn Birthing Ritual yet, so let's do basic forest. Here is Shardless Agent with Cascade. Birthing Ritual. A weird thought has occurred to me where maybe I want to put a Cavernous Souls on Rogue so that if I draw another Rainbow land, I can start casting Fairy Macabres. I think with 2 other creatures in my hand, I don't need to do that. Also, I was kind of expecting a post-combat creature. Do I even play this with, like, this coming up next turn? Maybe I don't. It's awkward because Pyroblast on this would take a lot of value. Alright, let's just call it there. Opponent is fetching. They have Thundering Falls. Melded Moxite makes a robot with this timing for... Okay. Initiative creature. I don't think I want to do that in the face of haste stuff. I'm just going to do YOJIMBO. Sack this. Get YOJIMBO. I think this is the most dangerous thing in play. Skateboard is close, though. I think Skateboard is less scary if I have 3 Fairy Macabres to help cover the graveyard combo, though. No, I think opponent was right to do that with that timing because Clarion Conqueror exists, and they've seen that already. I take that back. Yep. And with 3 fairies here, I was not super afraid of this. So I will let my opponent target it. All right. Goodbye, Sewer Valence Cam and Melded Moxite. I will fizzle that ability and have the ability to do that 2 more times. I can also just remove the Welder with Brutal Cathar. Haywire Mite's very good here. We'll see. I imagine that my opponent should get rid of the Birthing Ritual. Alright. Pseudo Fog or YOJIMBO. I can play both of my creatures. My opponent is probably going to Haywire Mite, block, exile, Birthing Ritual. That is fine with me. Yeah. Yep. Goodbye, Birthing Ritual. Fog successful. Now I will go 1, 2, 3 for Brutal Cathar. I will take out the Goblin Welder despite the fact that I have 2 Fairy Macabres. And then throw down Seasoned Dungeoneer. I have no basic lands. And Urza's Saga. Very reasonable Magic the Gathering card. Opponent still has not, like, just gone to value equipping Skateboard to make their creatures bigger when they have the opportunity to do so. I will Forge. I will do that on Seasoned Dungeoneer. Rector is awesome. We'll do that. Sewer Valence Cam comes in. And just tap down one of my creatures for value. Opponent just immediately going to draw 2 for cards to tap down a different one. Perfectly reasonable. I think I'm fine going in on the attack here. If my opponent wants to take the initiative, they are giving me Overwhelming Splendor. This card is just a totally solid combat trick as the game goes along, though. Yep. Fairy Macabre doesn't save me from that. So that just outright kills me here. GG. Really thought we had that one. Drew too many fairies. Alright, how do we feel about the Birthing Ritual Collector Oof logic? My opponent's mid-range stuff just beats the Collector Oof stuff. Assuming I'm not, like, shutting off artifact lands, like the Urza Saga tokens and the Fable stuff is way better than Collector Oof Shardless Agents combined 4 power on 2/2 bodies. It's possible 4 Fairy Macabre is too many. I really do need them early, though, or I can just die to Sewer Valence combo. Okay. This hand can't play Anointed Peacekeeper into Birthing Ritual because I can't use this Spirit Guide or Birthing Ritual doesn't work. What about the other way around? Turn 1, Cavern of Souls, Elvish Spirit Guide, Birthing Ritual, Cavern goes on human. Yeah, this is fine. It is rough to not be able to do this on turn 1. This would be such a good turn 1 play here, but doing so requires both Spirit Guides, and then I can't cast Birthing Ritual because my lands don't cast Birthing Ritual. Alright, Cavern goes on human. Green Spirit Guide. The engine is here. Great Furnace pass turn is going to be Anointed Peacekeeper for sure. Yeah. Alright. Ensnaring Bridge. So there's no green mana for Haywire Might. There's no blue mana for Sewer Valence Cam. I have no guarantees that I'm even going to keep this in play. I think I'm naming Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, quick check. How do I beat that card? You exile artifacts? You do. Okay. So I have outs to this. I'm not required to keep Anointed Peacekeeper in play. Yeah, I will take Rector here. That Overwhelming Splendor very quickly sounds fantastic. Ancient Tomb. And opponent goes for Fable over Bridge. Clarion Conqueror is a good pickup. I would rather sack this to Birthing Ritual than have it die in combat. I'm going to get a basic white source here, because Blood Moon exists. There's Clarion Conqueror. Move to end step. Okay. Sack this. I think I'm just going to pick up Anointed Peacekeeper on Ensnaring Bridge. Yep. And now I get Overwhelming Splendor, which I think is just the correct choice here. YOJIMBO exiling Fable is, like, reasonable as well. They'll not let my opponent loot through their stuff. Sewer Valence Cams go away. There's a Painter. The Grindstone side of things is not live. Here's more mana. Here is Brutal Cathar. I'll permanently junk the token, assuming that I am getting rid of Brutal Cathar at some point. And we take this one down. We do end up with a positive record in this league, and I'm very happy about that because we stumbled a lot. GG's. Alrighty, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Let's ignore the mana base for a moment. The actual factual cards that are in the deck feel pretty good, and the ratio of cards that are here feel totally fine. Brutal Cathar is a little bit awkward as a removal spell that is weird with Birthing Ritual. It's good in that you can find it, and bad in that if you have something trapped under there that you can't let free, then you can't sack the Brutal Cathar to the Birthing Ritual. That said, it's something you can cast off of Ancient Tomb that is a removal spell, and I fully understand why it is in the deck. People have been playing Static Prisons and Oblivion Ring effects for a very long time, knowing that they are good and flexible, but that they do have downsides. I think as far as the actual factual cards in the deck, I don't think I would change anything. YOJIMBO did much, much better today than I was expecting it to do. We ran into a lot of Painter decks and Affinity decks where these abilities, especially the first ability, was very, very relevant. And versus like the energy and the drone tokens, the middle abilities were quite strong. Being able to exile a thing versus Affinity, fog versus the tokens, fog versus the tokens, and then like sack it to a Birthing Ritual or whatever is kind of crazy, and honestly the perfect card for that matchup. As far as the sideboard goes, the tools that were here were reasonable, and I used most of them. I'm not sure whether or not Toxicrene is consistent enough to actually be in this sideboard. Like, you don't have Green Sun to tutor for it, so it's only off of Birthing Ritual, and like at the point where you find this, is it actually relevant enough to shut down what you need it to shut down? I would probably replace Toxicrene in the sideboard, like another Mindbreak Trap, another Trinisphere, another Archon. Are we maxed out on Clarion Conqueror? I wouldn't hate one more Clarion Conqueror. I don't know how I feel about Oof. There's definite awkwardness in wanting to hit Birthing Ritual in a lot of matchups. It may also be that I saw a very high sampling of artifact decks today, and that is skewing my evaluation of Clarion Conqueror too highly. I could also see slotting in another Brutal Cathar into the sideboard. I don't know how I feel about Solitude in the deck as the only 5-drop. It doesn't chain from 3 properly. Solitude is a good card, I just boarded it out a lot. That's what I have to say about the cards in the deck. As far as the mana base, I don't think you get to be the Birthing Ritual deck without the ability to cast the Birthing Ritual when you draw it. This mana base is already so strained trying to be a fast mana deck that is in 3 colors. I understand that this casts the creatures well, but it does not cast Birthing Ritual. And that feels like a deal breaker to me. I would also fully consider dropping City of Traders from the deck if you want to stay on Abundant Countryside to get a few more actual factual mana sources into the deck. City of Traders being the boost to 4 is fine, and maybe you need it in some matchups to accelerate out Clarion Conqueror early. But just having the right colors, especially having the blue for Shardless Agent, is like quite tough. You can't play Lotus Petal in the deck because of Shardless Agent, so the Spirit Guides are what the Spirit Guides are. But there's not even the full sampling of dual lands in here, right? Like there's no tropical island if you need both blue and green at the same time because you have basic planes. And I understand wanting to have a few basics in here because like you do have the initiative, but I don't know that you get to be the 3-color Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, triple basic land deck all at the same time. I think something has got to give somewhere in the mana base. But scoreboard, we did come up positive in this league, and we honestly were very close to winning the first round as well. So with that, I think I'm going to call it a day. Despite some mana base woes, this was a pretty fun deck, and Birthing Ritual did pop off a few times, and that was pretty darn cool. So, Sinister, overall, good job. Really give the mana base some thought, though. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.